All right. Well, welcome back to Happy Hour with Heather and Guest. I am joined by members of the band Aawks. Good to see you again. We've spoken before previously when you had your debut album that was released in June, I believe, called Heavy on the Cosmic. And
Correct.
you've got a split coming out in August with I want to say it's Aiwass.
You got it.
Okay, good. Which I had the chance to listen to. So you've both contributed one track each. The album is going to be called Eastern Scrolls. It's going to be out
Yep.
August 25th. The track that you have is called 1831. And I read a little bit that it's influenced by someone named Madame Helena Blavatsky,
That's
who
correct.
is I just know that she coined the term theosophy, but I didn't. I figured I would let you explain anything you wanted. I was really curious, but I also didn't want to learn too much on my own because I was like, then the magic will be gone.
I
So
think I was going to say, I think that's part of the magic of Blavatsky is it's all in one's own interpretation. So
sure.
what you might think you've learned from it, we may have caught another piece of it, and she is something otherworldly in the mystical sense of things. So it's actually pretty amazing the more you delve in.
Yeah. Well, I went on Wikipedia, and as soon as I saw that she was going to be this larger than life character,
Oh,
like a mystic, I was like, I don't want to read too much. So I may go back and like learn, once, but I wanted to listen to the music without having preconceived notions.
I
Um,
liked it.
and it's a dynamite. I mean, it's what you'd think. Okay, it's one track, but it's almost 15 minutes long, and the tone that you're able to get on the guitar is, I mean, it's otherworldly.
oh, well, thank you very much.
Yeah, it's really
Yeah,
cool because the like going into it, I sort of knew there were going to be psychedelic and doom elements to it, but the tempo changes. There are some progressive changes to it, which I wasn't really expecting. Um, so,
yeah. I've been a big fan of prog music since I was a teenager, and I remember reading an article because I was a big Nirvana fan back when I was younger, and Kurt Cobain mentioned an album by King Crimson, the album Red by King Crimson, and I was like, oh, I've never heard of that band. This is going back to like mid '90s sometime. So then I was like, well, I need to hear King Crimson now. And then I got heavy into them for a long time and then branched out to a bunch of different prog bands from there. And I wouldn't call us a prog band by any means, but there's definitely elements in stuff at times.
yeah, well, it was really cool. I feel like a lot of bands who live in the doom realm tend they sometimes can get formulaic. Um, so it was really interesting to see how you were able to make something new. Um,
Thank you.
just combining a lot of elements. But it's a dynamite track. I mean, I was listening to it while I was on the exercise bike, and I was like, I feel like I'm on a sonic journey with an orchestra right now. So
Nice.
So that's exactly what we were going for. Like we wanted it to be a bit of a journey akin to or analog to her life, Madame Blavatsky, which is, you can go in any different directions talking about her, but one thing that I think that all of us would say is that her life was a journey of sorts, and that she started in what was, I guess, Russia or the Ukraine at the time, depending on where the borders were, um, and then traveled all over the world, and she was one of the first non Tibetan people, I guess, one of the first Westerners to enter Tibet at one point. Um, and she brought a whole series of different fantastical stories and experiences to America at one point in the late 1800s. and then formed Theosophy, which is essentially it's a religion, I guess, philosophy or religion. Yeah, she's just an amazing person with all sorts of amazing stories that some of them are true. I think some of them are embellished. And I think she really liked to toy and play with what was real and what wasn't, much long before social media existed and personalities existed. She was kind of one of the first people to do that kind of stuff, I think, that I'm aware of anyway. In that she played with what was real and what wasn't.
Sure. Well, it seems like it's perfect subject matter for a song.
Yeah, and getting back to the song structure itself, like when we went with Blake and we decided to start the project, I wanted to do something that wasn't maybe a typical Aawks song, and then something that would jive with Aiwass. Aiwass, I would say, is a bit more doom, a bit heavier than us overall. So I wanted something that would kind of speak to his music, to Blake's music as well. And I think he also tried to do the same from his side. He tried to kind of come to our side a little bit, both being fans of each other's bands. So I think it's not a typical Aawks song by any means, but I was happy with the results.
Yeah, well, it's definitely different from Heavy on the Cosmic, and it does complement. I listened to the other track as well just to kind of get a feel for it. But it was really interesting because it did feel like a 5-act play unfolding. So you definitely, if that's what you're going for, you definitely nailed it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah,
that's a big piece of it. She was unidentifiable as a person. Everybody wanted to assume who she was or create who she was or determine who she was. So whether it was the husband who was marrying her and determining you're going to be a wife, you're going to be a mother, you're going to be this, or it's you're a woman, you can't do this, you can't do that, or the Catholic Church that said this is how you should be. She wiped that slate clean and said, I'm going to do my own story. I'm going to create my own journey, and it's going to be unexpected. And it was a beautiful idea that in the 1800s, she completed this somehow. So to be able to take a moment in our time and just exemplify what we felt reading, it was a beautiful experience and a purely artistic journey that we came upon.
Well, it certainly works really well. It complements. I mean, the album is a great album, even though you think it's okay. It's only 2 songs, but it's a full. I mean, it's like easily half an hour worth of music. So it's definitely something I will be returning back to, especially now that I know there's so much depth to both the story, but also I want to go back and kind of listen to the music again. I just remember being struck by the guitar tone was like otherworldly. So that was really cool. And it was it was really
tone. I'm constantly sorry, I didn't hear what you said. The last thing you said.
Oh no, I was just saying it was otherworldly.
Thank you. So I'm always trying to get that. That's exactly what I'm trying to do, is create some kind of portal with the music. And I know when I listen to music that I really dig, it's a portal. It takes me somewhere. It's like I put it on and I'm propelled to a different fantastical place that might not be a tangible thing. It might be like some kind of abstract setting of some kind, but I'm taken somewhere. And to me, I was having a conversation with someone recently about, what is psychedelic music? And to me, like, hardcore punk can be psychedelic in that it's with its intensity and volume, because it takes you somewhere with that density. Or psychedelic, 60, it doesn't all have to be like flower power psychedelic, tripping through the daisies type of music to be psychedelic. It's anything to me that takes you out of where you're sitting at the moment and takes you somewhere else. So sure. I'm always trying to do that with our music because that's what I dig most about music.
Well, I think you've definitely done that with this. I mean, I know that I would have rather been anywhere except on the exercise bike. And when I was listening to the song, it certainly took me away. So that was so you managed to do exactly that. So well done. I guess I'm sorry. I guess there might have been a brief delay there, but
Sweet. 1 second, my dog is freaking out here.
yeah, no worries.
Come here.
But it's one of those wonderful pieces where if it wasn't for Blake introducing us into that idea and that content to really stream into and take in our own introspective ways, that couldn't have come out. Like that result was that investigation and that delving and that like let's find out what we feel, like not what it is, what do we feel from it, and this is the experience you get, and it really is an experience.
Yeah, it's again, I feel like it's a song that I need to go back to a bunch of times and really listen to it over and over again and just probably get something new each time. Now I know that's not coming out until August,
End
and
of August, yeah.
Heavy on the Cosmic just came out recently. So
Heavy on the Cosmic actually came out 1 year ago.
oh yeah, that's right.
as a-
Right, but June of 22.
Correct.
So are the plans to tour anytime soon, to play some gigs? What's next on the agenda for Aawks?
Lots of stuff on the horizon. So we're always writing. We're always kind of working towards our second album, and then we've recorded and completed an EP as well of 3 songs plus a live track. So that'll be coming out at some point between the EP, which is August 25th, or sorry, the split. The split is August 25th. The EP will be coming out at some point between then and the album, which will be probably next, spring, summer.
Well, yeah, like
By the time it's completed.
Yeah, spring is fair.
So we're shooting for next spring, summer, for the second album.
Okay, so there's a lot to look forward to.
A lot.
Absolutely, yeah. And as far as shows go and tours, like we have no formal extensive tour, but we're playing shows 2, 3, 4 times a month.
Cool.
Every month, so we're constantly playing.
Yeah, I one of the things that Heather and I always talk about is how wonderful it is when we discover a contemporary band that can take the torch. Like King Crimson, obviously, just because you mentioned them, they're not really putting out new music.
Right.
And there are all these holes to fill with new. So it's great. Like when I listen to a band like Aawks, and I'm like, oh yeah, no, they'll take the torch and keep going with it. So.
Well, thank you. Yeah, that's a huge compliment. I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course.
I love making music, and we just have to do it. We have to kind of come to the practice space, and luckily we live together, and we're a couple, so it's nice having a drummer that lives with you. I can say, hey, listen, I got this idea. Let's go to the garage right now, and let's work it out. And we don't have to plan a practice space or have like the whole band come over, because the two of us are kind of here to just get the basics. So
yeah,
that's kind of have that.
It's a wonderful arrangement that seems to work really well on a lot of levels. So I'm glad to hear that there is more Aawks music coming out soon.
Oh yeah,
this split is dynamite. I'm really glad I got to listen to it well before it's coming out in August.
I thank you for that. You're my first input back, my first piece of feedback. So I really love that, because
Good.
it was a labor of love, where once I got into just bits and pieces, I know I don't even understand the full scope of her life, but even the bits and pieces, I put everything I could into that moment, because to feel like this woman of the 1800s, to put everything she had into what she believed, I wanted to exemplify and just give back in that little moment of time. And now it's going to be put in vinyl and it's going to be put out. And I want to do her justice almost. So I appreciate your feedback.
Yeah. Well, the song is great. The split is great. I'm looking forward to listening to new music and going back and obviously checking out old music as well. But I'm really glad to know that there's going to be more stuff coming out in the foreseeable future. And yeah, no, it's a banger. It's a banger, definitely.
A couple of cool, interesting facts about the split and Blavatsky, though, we should mention.
Yeah.
If you're interested. So when we were talking with Blake about doing it, Blake's very well read, and he's constantly, I think he's got like a degree or a master's even in literature or something like that. So he's always reading all sorts of esoteric stuff that we've never heard of. And he's like, yeah, I'm really into this Madame Blavatsky right now. And Blake's also into occult things and Aleister Crowley and all sorts of, interesting, cool shit. And he was like, so this Blavatsky, so cool. Let's look into it. Maybe we'll do the split based on her. We'll do a concept album, which is very prog. And it turns out that if you look at Heavy on the Cosmic in the liner notes, our bass player, our current bass player, who was our guitarist at the time of Heavy on the Cosmic, thanks Madame Blavatsky in the liner notes. Now, we didn't meet Blake until almost probably a year after it was recorded. And I didn't know that he had put Blavatsky in the liner notes until until we were recording the split about Madame Blavatsky. So I'm reading through the liner notes and I'm like, you thanked Madame Blavatsky way before we even decided to do this. What the fuck? And our bass player, a man of few words, heavily chosen words, but few words, says, yeah, I did. And that was it. He wouldn't tell me why. So there's this mysterious thing, it's a serendipitous kind of, what's the word I'm looking for? A synchronistic moment, right?
Yeah, I was about to offer up synchronicity as one of my favorite concepts. And that's usually right. I look at it, the universe is trying to orchestrate something. So that's wonderful that you did.
And I know you got I know you probably got like a digital download of it. Yes. I guess you haven't seen the artwork.
No, I've seen the artwork.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's another synchronistic moment.
Okay. I'm looking at it right now. It's lady with a red flowing robe in the field with
it's gorgeous.
What looks like flowers. Either she's standing right in front of the tree or they're coming out of her.
They're it's like a crown. It's like it's almost of royalty, right? It's beautiful. Mm-hmm. It's a headdress. Do you want to explain how this came about?
Oh, so for Heavy on the Cosmic, I was looking for the artwork for the cover, and I found a picture that I really liked, and it was a bunch of cloaked figures with like kind of levitating orbs above their hands. So I was like, that's such a cool image. And then I searched and found the photographer, and I hit her up and I said, like, can we use your image for our cover? And she said, unfortunately, that image is already licensed to a company, so I can't let you use it. But if you want to use some other photos, here's a whole grouping of them. It just so happens that she's from the same area that Blavatsky is from, and then sent us this whole amazing. Her name's Daria Bilic.
At Dashie.
Yeah, she goes by Dashie. It's like Dashie, I think.
On Instagram.
Anyway, she's a phenomenal photographer. Does kind of this occult, fantastical photography that really like jives with our sound. And I was like, oh my God, like, thank you so much. This is like exactly what we're looking for. And she's just been a joy to work with. So.
But it was that weird thing that we looked at her for Heavy on the Cosmic, didn't work out, right. But we had this catalog of photos that just suddenly, when we looked at it once again later on, it was absolutely dead bang on what we were headed after. Yeah. And it was gorgeous.
So this is all meant to be.
Yeah.
That's yes. That's awesome. Well, I'm excited to go back and listen to it and hear the new music when it comes out. Good luck with everything. This is great. I mean, keep making great music. That's all I ask.
Thank you very much.
And Yes, and we will certainly be in touch. But good luck with everything, and have a good rest of the evening.
You
You too.
too.